What if I told you that the real signs of high intelligence aren't what we think they are, that they're actually the ones we tend to overlook completely? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden habits of high IQ minds, and I think you're going to be surprised by what we find.
So, just for a second, picture a genius. What do you see? Is it that person who's always the center of attention, who has an answer for everything and just never stops talking? Well, as we're about to see, the reality is often the complete opposite.
So on the one hand, you've got the myth, right? The loud, show-off genius who dominates every single conversation. But then you have the reality. See, a truly brilliant mind doesn't feel the need to prove a thing. They're way too busy doing something else, observing, questioning, and analyzing everything from all sides before they jump in.
So first, let's dive into their inner world. The habits that really define how they think and operate when nobody else is around. Let's kick things off with a habit that honestly gets a pretty bad rap: the need to be alone. But for high IQ people, this isn't about being lonely or antisocial. Not at all. It's about creating the mental space they absolutely need to think clearly.
Psychologists actually have a term for this. They call it mental freedom. And here's a great way to think about it. Imagine their brain is like a supercomputer that's running a dozen complex programs all at once. Solitude is just the quiet, distraction-free room it needs to run at full power without crashing.
Have you ever noticed that your best, most creative ideas seem to show up late at night? Well, for a lot of highly intelligent people, that's just their normal mode of operation. It's like when the world finally powers down, their mind powers up.
And this isn't just some random preference, it's a real, recognized pattern called a delayed cognitive peak. Think of it like a mental laboratory that only opens after hours. When all the phone calls, emails, and daily interruptions are gone, their mind is finally free to just create.
Okay, here's one that might get you a few funny looks from people: talking to yourself. But for a really intelligent mind, this isn't a sign of madness, it's a method. It's actually an incredibly powerful tool they use to achieve clarity. So check out how this works. It all starts with this storm of complex, tangled up ideas in their head. By speaking those thoughts out loud, they're actually forcing those abstract concepts into an orderly, step-by-step line. It's like untangling a giant knot, one thread at a time, turning that mental chaos into pure, crystal clarity.
All right, so we've explored their inner world. Now let's shift gears and look at how these intensely analytical minds process all the information coming at them from the world outside.
So what's the engine driving this analytical mind? It's a relentless, almost insatiable curiosity. For them, the world is like a giant puzzle, and they have this deep, undeniable urge to figure out how all the pieces fit together, always asking why and how.
And the key here is that this is all driven by what's called intrinsic motivation. They're not learning to get a better grade or promotion. Nope. They're learning for the sheer joy of it. The discovery is the reward, and that's exactly why their interests are often all over the map.
Now this is a huge one. You know that thing we sometimes call overthinking? Well, what if it's not that at all? What if it's actually a superpower in disguise? It's advanced pattern recognition. Their brains are basically high-powered scanners, constantly picking up on connections, inconsistencies, and hidden details that most people just miss.
And this love for patterns also explains their sense of humor perfectly. They really appreciate comedy that makes you think a little. Puns, irony, clever wordplay, anything that messes with your expectations and reveals some kind of hidden connection.
The technical term for this is incongruity recognition. But all that really means is their brain is lightning fast at spotting when two totally different ideas crash into each other in a clever, surprising way. It's that aha moment of connection that makes a joke really truly land.
And this might be the most important habit of them all. They are willing to be wrong. It's a skill called cognitive flexibility, and it's all based on one profound idea. The search for what's true is so much more important than the need to be right.
So what happens when you take this deeply analytical mind and put it in a social situation, like a party? Well, things can get pretty interesting and not always in the way you'd think. This brings us to our third section, the social observer. When they walk into a room, their first thought isn't, what am I gonna say? It's, what am I gonna see? They're observing the dynamics, analyzing body language, and basically building a complete mental map of the social landscape before they even think about speaking.
And here's a phrase you might hear them say more often than you'd expect: I don't know. And this isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of profound intellectual humility.
They understand that the smartest people in the room are usually the ones who are most aware of what they don't know.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the one big thing that fuels all of these habits we've discussed, the single driving force that really ties everything else together.
When it comes down to it, it's all about a search for meaning. See, they're not just interested in how the world works, they feel this deep need to understand why it works the way it does. It's really a lifelong quest to understand the big picture. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's that intelligence isn't a performance you put on. It's not a trophy you hang on the wall. It's a process. It's a dynamic, ongoing journey of questioning, observing, and learning, and it really never, ever stops.
So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. Now that you know the signs, where do you see this hidden intelligence? Maybe it's in a quiet coworker or a curious friend, or maybe, just maybe, even in the mirror. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.